Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Don Kottick, President and CEO of Sotheby's International Realty Canada. Interesting report out today, Don, about the Gen Z people. 37% expect to purchase their first home within the next 5 years. Does that number surprise you?
Yeah, well, great to see you, Mario, and thanks for having me again. Yeah, well, I mean, this survey goes back to, it's a second part of a survey that we've done on Gen Zs. And the first one really dispelled the myths that the Gen Zs want to get into home ownership. So this was definitely was quite interesting for us to see the results that came out of it. That a large number of them do want to purchase it in a very short period of time. So it was very surprising to see these results.
Well, it's interesting, when you look at dollars, right, and to purchase a home. And what I found interesting, from the report was that 67% were going to use personal savings as their primary source for down payment. However, 25% would receive gifts from their family, and 16% say inheritance. So obviously, it's a young generation, but they seem to have access to money to facilitate, I guess, the purchase of homes.
Yeah, well, it's actually what is really interesting is, you said 67% are going to come from their primary personal savings, but it actually it actually declines a bit to 64% in the Alberta region. And a lot of this has to do with the influence of the average price. So we're starting to see, we have our national numbers, but then we have our Alberta numbers, and the Alberta numbers are actually somewhat more kind of they're a little bit lower because the average price is sometimes, in some cases, a third of what it would be in Toronto and Vancouver. So we see this slight of adjustment as a result of that.
Yeah. The other thing the other thing I found interesting is 24% would co-own with their family, and 13% would co-own with friends. And is this something that is new out there in terms of in real estate trends? Because I don't know, 10, 20 years ago, I don't think you'd ever see that, right?
No, I think when we were buying homes, we would, buy a home ourselves. We buy a home for our family. So this is probably a somewhat new phenomena, and it has to do with the affordability factor. So people are looking to be creative in terms of how they can get into the market. And I think one of the things that came out of this survey is the Gen Zs understand that for retirement purposes and for wealth accumulation, obviously due to the high taxation levels in Canada, there aren't many vehicles that allow you to accumulate wealth. And they seem to have grasped very early on that home ownership is one of the surest paths to not only have a good retirement, but accumulate wealth in your life. So as a result of that, they want to get into the market, and they're being creative on how they can get in. And they'll look to co-ownership with a family member. They'll look to buying a home with a friend. And it's very smart. You just get into the market, and then you work your way up. And eventually, you'll probably have that dream of the single family home, which is aspirational for most of these Gen Zs.
Yeah, and you mentioned about retirement. I know in the survey it said 83% see home ownership as a financially stable retirement plan. And I guess that's the one thing, Don. You talk about real estate in general that obviously we've had some ups and downs, but it's been mostly up, right? Over a long period of time in Canada.
Right. And well, actually, that 83% jumps up to 86% in Alberta.
Wow.
And once again, this has to do, I think, with the affordability factor. But the underlying, reason for our affordability issue is our lack of inventory. We need more homes. We have a chronic undersupply of homes in Canada. And, we just heard recently that the Liberals are planning on bringing 400,000 new permanent residents each year into Canada. That's going to put more stress on our already overstressed housing supply. So the only way that we can solve this problem, you can't do it from, any policies on the buy side. We have to do it through increasing supply, and that's all the government levels working together to build more homes. That's the only way we can deal with affordability. And until they, get off and start working on this problem, it will be endemic to our society.
Beyond say the financial aspect of it, Don, why do you think there's a strong segment of that generation that wants to be in home ownership and wants to be more specifically in the kind of the single detached market?
Yeah, I think it comes back to that, they've seen that, through the ups and downs. One of the things that has been fairly constant is the equity that people have amassed in their homes, and they see that with their parents. Their nest egg is tied up in their homes. So they've seen the stock market go up and down, up and down. The one thing that's held tried and true probably for most of their lives is the fact that equity has continually grown in the housing market, and so they've seen that, and so that's where it gives them the confidence and assurance that if they do the same, if they invest in real estate, they too can have accumulate wealth.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Don, for joining us again today.
My pleasure, Mario. Always great to see you. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, you bet. Thanks. And that was Don Kottick, President and CEO of Sotheby's International Realty Canada. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.